Walter Latham, and welcome to the Walt Weekly Podcast, where we provide the information to our community. We attempt to, anyway, that will enlighten and prepare people to face the day-to-day life of a foundational Black American. Anyway, let's do this here about the three shooters that attempted to assassinate President Trump. Okay, we want to take a look into their profiles to see whether we can determine any type of, or we can extract any type of trend or expectation or risk mitigation. I know that the Trump administration security details have gone through a lot of this, but unfortunately, these attempts still continue. Yeah, and we're going to look at the profiles of the three shooters since 2024. All right, the first guy, and we want to see whether there are any commonalities, okay? So the first guy, Thomas M. Crooks, now he was 20 years old, and the location of his attempt was Butler, Pennsylvania. By the way, I do have some relatives in that area. And next is, what happened? What was the outcome of the attempt? All right, Trump was wounded, and a bystander was killed, believe it or not. A bystander was killed. And the weapon that he used, weapon of choice, was an AR-15 styled weapon. And he also had explosives in his car. All right, the guy, in terms of a record, now don't forget he's only 20. He had no known prior records, nothing public anyway. And as far as the work history, he hadn't even started. Thomas M. Cook, limited public info, a young adult with no widely reported career. So actually, being 20 years old, he's not even ready for the job market. The guy was so young. All right, the next guy, and that was Ryan W. Ruth on the golf course in Florida. And this guy was 58 years old, West Palm Beach golf course. That's where he attempted his assassination. But he didn't get a chance. They spotted him. The Secret Service spotted him before he could even load up. You know what I mean? All right, so there were no injuries, and the suspect was arrested. And what he had was a rifle near the course. I don't know how they concluded that he was going to kill Trump. But then again, Trump was playing and he was there with a gun. So, walk like a duck, quacks like a duck, must be a duck, right? Yeah, absolutely. In terms of his criminal history, he had multiple past legal cases, including felonies and fraud-related charges. And in terms of work history, this was, a guy that uses his hands, a roofer and a construction worker. And he became an activist. This last guy, who's black, and you notice that during the coverage, they didn't mention that the guy was black. So he looked black to me. He had curly, hair and his complexion. I think he was Black American. He was Black American, and no doubt about it. And he was in his 30s. He went to Caltech, became a mechanical engineer. And, Caltech is known, for the quality of technology and engineering. And see, that's a good school. All right. And Cole was in his early 30s. And there was no injury to Trump. And the suspect was arrested. He had two firearms and knives. No detailed prior conviction. The guy didn't even have a record. He didn't have a record. And as I said, he was, he finished Caltech, mechanical engineering. The guy, he loved, building games. So he's a tech. He's a tech guy. So, and also he was a teacher. So can you imagine a school teacher doing something like this? What would prompt him or motivate him to do a one-way mission? To me, the guy, when he went in there, he knew he wasn't coming out. He had two guns, knives, and you saw how he flashed. He looked like the Flash going by, security. He looked like the Flash. I mean, really, it was like a blur. So I'm thinking a couple of things here. One, for the guy to get that far, they probably thought that he worked for the hotel because he was black. So, ergo, he wasn't a threat. I think they were a little lax on that. I mean, he got close. And he came all the way from the West Coast and all the way here on the train. So, and there's something strange about that one. I know that something will come out in the future about this. I am not sure whether it was a misdirection. Because with Trump, everything is a misdirection. You know, there's nothing really straightforward or straight about him. There's always some curveballs or whatever, some different type of spin. So I did want y'all guys to know, and my conclusion, our conclusion rather, is that there will be more. There will be more. Because a lot of people would just say, hey, I'm glad he's gone. A lot of people would hurt that these people miss. And that's unusual. And since when did we wish death upon somebody? I don't know about the white side when the Democrats were in, maybe they were in their community, they were ruling for death and all this kind of stuff. All right. Even Ronald Reagan was the last guy that got shot, I believe, and Bush got a shoe thrown at him, which I didn't like when he was in Iraq. It's just amazing, folks. It's just amazing. But that's enough for today, for this podcast. And as I said, please like, follow, share, and comment. If you like this podcast, please subscribe. Okay. Thank you. Until next week. Bye bye.